Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's another rainy day in quarantine, so what better way to pass the time than to paint all your clothes? Today, I'm going to teach you how to paint denim all the way from materials to heat setting at the end. Let's get started. So I've decided to paint an old pair of jeans today, and I'm going to use a paper plate as a palette so I can throw it away later. And I'm going to use a wide variety of brushes, some big, some small for the detail areas. And I'm also going to be using acrylic paint today. And just make sure that it's a nicer brand of acrylic paint that you can mix with fabric medium. And you can pick up this fabric medium from your local craft store. I'll put a link to where I got it below. And I also am going to use a lot of white paint because you want your background to be pretty light. I'm also going to use a mechanical pencil to draw my design on top of my background before painting it. And then, of course, you need some paper towels to change out your colors and to wipe off excess paint. And what I didn't show is you're also going to need an iron and some towels to heat set your fabric after your paint is dry. Because if you don't, there's a good chance that when you throw it in the washing machine that all of your hard work will come off, and you don't want that to happen. So here I'm just mixing my background colors with a lot of white. I want a really good light base because my denim is so dark, you don't want your colors to just fade into the denim. And don't be afraid to mix up a lot more paint than you think you'll need because the fabric is going to soak up a lot of your paint. When I go on the top layer to actually do my design, I won't have to use as much because I'll already have that dried layer of background on there. Now here I'm just taking my brush with my pale yellow color and I'm just kind of doing upward strokes. I'm really saturating the fabric with paint. And as I go, I'm just adding more and more color, laying it on pretty thick. And I do all my blending while the acrylic is still wet. So when I end up transitioning to another color, I want to do it fairly quickly because I don't want my paint to dry before I'm able to blend. It's also important that once you're done with your painting, you want to heat set your fabric before throwing it in the washing machine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an iron. I'm not going to actually film that in this video, so I'll just explain what you'll need to do. You're going to need to flip your pants inside out or use the other side of your denim jacket if you're doing that, and put a towel in between your design and the surface. And then you want to iron it for a couple minutes, and you want to keep the iron moving so it doesn't scorch the fabric. If you don't happen to have an iron, you can throw it in the dryer on a high heat, but this part is super important to make sure that all your hard work isn't washed away before wearing it. It'll also keep your design from doing the dreaded cracking that sometimes happens once you paint on denim. You can see that I'm going up really close to the edge of the seam, and I'm not too picky about it. I kind of like the messy look of my background, but if you want a cleaner edge, you can use some artist tape or some blue painter's tape to create that really clean edge to your work. Also, I forgot to mention that before I started painting my background, I put a piece of plastic in between the legs of the jeans just because I didn't want my wet paint to bleed through to the other side. You can do this with plastic or cardboard, works just fine. After feathering out the edges of my pale yellow, I'm going to go in with some other colors while it's still wet and blend them together. And this is the finished background. From here, I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to pencil draw on my designs that I'll put over the top. Now that my design is drawn on, I'm just going to go in and start painting the leaves of my rose. And with this, I don't really have to mix a whole lot of white if I don't want, because the colors will be pretty true to how they look in the tube with the background painted on my denim. I do, though, have to make sure that every single color I mix is mixed with fabric medium as well. And even though this part's really tedious to mix all your colors, it's completely worth it at the end when your design doesn't crack or peel off of your jeans. And the first leg is done. Moving on to the second one. Honestly, the birds took way longer than the rose, and I think it was because there were a lot of smaller details in them, and it ended up taking probably around 4 to 5 hours just to do these. But it was completely worth it, I think, because they turned out super cute, and I got all the colors blended and all the little details in it to make it look how I wanted. And now that the second leg is done, it's time to heat set them and then put them on. I had so much fun painting these jeans, and I can't wait to wear them when life returns back to normal. In the meantime, stay healthy and safe, and I'll see you next time.